All right, hey everybody, what's up? This is Ryan here again with another FBA Podcast episode, and today I'm really excited because I get to bring on the man, the myth, the legend, the person who has taught me how to start an FBA business, and it's my good buddy Dustin. And Dustin is the first guy I went to try to do these interviews because I wanted to bring on the person who really started me getting going. And I've told that story many times about how Dustin and I went into a Best Buy that was closing, and I told him, I said, Dustin, don't let me walk out of here spending more than $50 worth of stuff, and you know, $300 later, I had a nice little start to a business on my hands. So I'm bringing Dustin on. Dustin, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I think it might have been more than $300, though. I think it might have been a little bit more than $300.
It was credit cards, right, that we were using.
Yeah,
so.
That was your first purchase. I go, think about what you're doing, and you're like, making money. I go, all right, let's go.
Oh, my gosh. Well, we've come a long ways since then, and you know, whereas I've been doing more of the retail arbitrage, you know, and just dabbling in private labeling and starting on that. And, you know, that's really what this podcast is about. It's about my adventure into private labeling. I got a lot of questions about wholesaling, and this is something that, Dustin, you do a lot of. And we don't have to go into, you know, down to the dollar figures, but, I mean, what would you say an average month is like for you with your wholesaling business?
It all depends on how hard I'm working. I will admit that Amazon is one of those businesses that you can get incredibly lazy and still be pretty good if you've got systems in place. So I'm anywhere between, if I'm doing it consistently, $7,500 to $12,000 a month. Generally between $5,000 and $10,000, mostly because I just love my weekends. I just love my weekends with my girlfriend. So I definitely could kick it up more, but generally about $7,500 a month.
Yeah, and that's one of the major advantages of an FBA business is, you know, you feel like there is no roof, right? You know, the more effort you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. And so, but it is a lifestyle business as well, so it allows you, like you said, that time with your girlfriend on the weekends. And you know, that's what I get a lot of emails, and that's what people say. They're like, I just want something that allows me to invest in those relationships in my life. So that's cool. And today, you know, you're ready to kind of share an overview, and I'm going to poke and prod and try to get some of the juicy details out of you as well. But Dustin, I'm kind of just going to let you take it away, and we're just going to record a conversation. I don't edit on my show. I don't do any of that. We're just going to have a real conversation, something we've done, you know, every Monday in our mastermind group, where, you know, just talking about your FBA business. And the title of this is going to be something along the lines of starting, selling, and scaling a wholesale business. So why don't we just begin at the beginning and talk to us about maybe your story and then how you got started with this FBA wholesale business.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm excited to actually be with you today, Ryan, mostly because just watching some of the stuff you're doing, I was talking to you before, I forget the things that I do instinctually, just intuitively now, that when I was a new seller were not anything I thought about doing. So when I first started, I obviously did a lot of retail arbitrage like you. I started deep in the trenches, just in the Goodwill, mostly out of Savers, just scanning cookbooks after cookbooks after cookbooks, trying to sell books on Amazon. And slowly over time, I built my money from my $50 that I started with. And all of a sudden, I started having like $500, and I had like $800, and I had $1,000. And I found my way all of a sudden into Walmart's, and I started doing a lot more retail arbitrage. And I think that was about the time that you and I started doing it together. It was when I started taking you to Walmart's, and we started going to clearance aisles. And you were like, seriously?
Oh, yeah.
This is amazing. And I did that for a while, and I started to realize there's only so much clearance that you can get. And I'd so much rather have something that I can buy consistently and sell repeatedly over and over and over. So then I started looking around, finding some resources, and then wholesaling became the in-between of clearance and private label. Wholesaling is that perfect in-between. It's that transition of when you have too much money to just go into a store and hope that there's something there, and you don't have quite enough money to go to China and decide that you're going to spend $2,000 or $4,000 or $5,000, and if it doesn't work out, your business can just handle it. So wholesale is really that in-between, that once you start to grow and scale, you can find some beautiful products that you can just develop a relationship with the manufacturer and just sell over and over and over. So yeah, that's why I got into wholesaling, was really because it helped my business bridge between being in a Walmart in a clearance aisle and calling up China and having to figure out how to be able to negotiate with a Chinese manufacturer when I'm like, I don't speak Mandarin, I have no idea what time of the day it is over there. So it really is what I would consider to be the best bridge as you grow your business and scale it.
And that's really kind of the fun thing about wholesale too, that I've realized is, you don't need to deal with all these relationships overseas with people who live in a different time zone. As I get into contacting manufacturers, it becomes, it's a little bit different talking to that person and gaining that level of comfort. But when you're doing wholesale, I mean, shoot, you're just finding something that sells and then asking the person who usually is in the United States, that's where we're located, hey, can we wholesale that product? So why don't you tell us about maybe that first product that you used to bridge that gap between, your ventures into Goodwills and Walmarts, and then, into your eventual private labeling, and that sort of thing.
Well, I definitely didn't have a resource as good as this. I'll say that. I stumbled into my first wholesale product, and it wasn't because I was specifically looking for it. It was more because I was looking and I wanted to find some online liquidation and clearance stuff, and I found my way into what I thought was just one set of 700 mosquito repellent bracelets, and all of a sudden they sold like hotcakes. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, who uses mosquito repellent bracelets? That's not even something that I would ever think of using. But I'd listed them on Amazon. I saw that there was a brand that had already been selling. I started to sell them, and then I ran out. And I'm like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I want to sell more of this. I need to figure something out. So I went online. I found out the person who was actually selling them. I found that they were a distributor for a company, and I go, okay, so you're distributing them. This company obviously exists. They're selling to you. Could you help me? Help me. I will buy from you if you will teach me what you know. And they go, it's not hard. You just go to the company, you set up a wholesale account, and you buy from them, and then they sell them to you. And I go, really? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, wait, it's that easy? They're like, yes. Would you like to buy anything? And I'm like, not anymore. I want to go to the manufacturer. And from there, I found my way to setting up an agreement with the manufacturer where I could buy thousands. That was their minimum order quantity. You had to buy 1,000 at a time. And I could buy thousands of bracelets in 1,000-unit chunks. And I could get them whenever I wanted, as quickly as I wanted, for a scaled down price. Obviously, the more I buy, the less I pay per unit. And I could just do it over and over and over. And I thought I had hit. I felt like the leprechaun on the Lucky Charms box. Like I had just found my pot of gold. I couldn't believe it. I was just overwhelmed. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding. This is not a secret. Like, they're letting me do this. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just calling up and saying, hey, can I buy some of your mosquito bracelets? And they said, yes, of course. We'd love to take your money. And I go, I'd love to give you my money because I want to take someone else's money and I want to sell to them. And this is amazing. So it was that moment when I realized that wholesale is not just for the large companies. It's for any individual who just wants to do the work, wants to make the call, send the email, and continue just to go up the chain. So yeah, that was my first experience, and then it's just continued to grow from there.
So why mosquito bracelets? How did you arrive at that? I mean, you obviously had spent a lot of time in the stores, and I have a course over at teachmefba.com where I kind of walk people through retail arbitrage. But maybe I'll let you answer the question, and then I'll tell you my thoughts on why I think you probably found a profitable product. But I think it probably had to do with your retail arbitrage experience.
Definitely. Retail arbitrage is where I feel really fortunate to have done retail arbitrage first, just because I learned what I feel like is an understanding of the customer and understanding buying cycles and seeing how a Walmart goes through buying cycles. How do they clearance out spring items? How do they clearance out Halloween items? How do they clearance out Christmas and Valentine's Day and everything like that? So I just happened to stumble upon mosquito bracelets in April. I didn't realize that people only buy mosquito bracelets from April until October. I just happened to fall into it in April, and I was sold out by May. And I had to get more, and then it crescendoed around the end of July, August, and I started to notice things taper off and kind of fizzle out because mosquitoes go away. I didn't realize that. I just figured, well, if people love mosquito bracelets in April, they're going to love them in July. Mm-hmm. That is not true. So it's just kind of something that if I hadn't had that retail arbitrage experience, I wouldn't have really understood the seasonality of how products work. And ultimately, that one little thing of stumbling upon mosquito bracelets in April triggered something in my brain that says, okay, now I'm starting to understand that if you have the right product at the right time, at the right price for the right person, they're going to buy it all the time. There's going to be a market there. And it helped me because I made a few stumbles as I started to buy other wholesale products. I started thinking, well, if people want to buy mosquito bracelets, they're going to want mosquito spray. They're going to want mosquito lotion. They're going to want suntan screen with mosquito repellent in it. And I thought they wanted everything with mosquitoes. For some reason, I thought it had something to do with mosquito repellents. But I learned slowly but surely that your consumer and your customer, first off, is different for every product. And secondly, they change as the seasons go on. And I've definitely used that as I continue to grow my wholesale business now because you want to target. You want to really focus on what is the customer you're trying to sell to and what is the product that they're looking for and at what time are they looking for it. Because if you can get that down, you pretty much have unlocked the secrets of how to be able to sell anything at any time to anyone. So that's definitely a secret that even just saying it now, I realize how valuable that is because it took me a long time to learn that.
Oh yeah. Well, there's a little bit of freedom too as you progress, and we've kind of seen this in each other as we've grown in our businesses, how we start to feel way more comfortable. And it's really this idea of self-reliance. Like if I needed to make a certain amount of money this month, I know exactly the steps I would do to do that. And it'd all be about execution, and so that's just such a cool feeling because, so many people think about going to a job. They think about, I need to make more money, so I need to work more hours. Well, FBA really allows you to work smarter. And once you kind of understand, like you said, retail arbitrage, once you understand how to retail arbitrage, that's really like the whole, how Amazon works. And then from there, now you get in that mindset where now you can, like you're saying, oh, mosquito bracelets. Okay. And oh, really? It's that easy? I just call and set up an account and then you sell it, right? And so it really is a liberating thing to go through the whole process. And I like how you said, yeah, start at retail arbitrage. That's exactly why I started this podcast at retail arbitrage, because it's valuable, so valuable.
So it's you can't describe it to any other person. It's like baseball. You're not ready for the all-star game. You're not ready for the home run derby unless you've taken batting practice. And retail arbitrage is definitely that experience of batting practice when it comes to products. You just get a feel for if Walmart's buying it, they're doing it for a reason. We always have something that we can learn from a company that's that vast, that big, and that successful.
Absolutely. Well, so let's continue with your kind of your story here now. So you start off in retail arbitrage, you move into this wholesaling thing because people are telling you that's where you get products, and they say, hey, you need a minimum of 1,000 units. Do you remember how much like that 1,000 units cost you to invest? Because that is a big thing to invest quite a bit of money in one of these loads, and you don't have to give us an exact. I don't like that just because of like tax implications. I never want someone to be able to, like we're trying to help people. I don't want this to ever come back and hurt us. But like, how much? Just give us a ballpark figure about like what did a lot of mosquito bracelets cost?
So mosquito bracelets, it was not. I was scared when someone says you have to order 1,000. I'm like, oh, how much is it? Is it $1 per bracelet? What am I going to be paying? And not realizing that the pricing that you see when you're doing retail arbitrage is vastly larger. The price is vastly higher than what the manufacturer generally charges a wholesale distributor. So when I would go into the store and I'd find these mosquito bracelets, I'd find them for $3-4 a piece, thinking, okay, well, the manufacturer can't possibly be making them for $1. They can't possibly be making them for 50 cents. I called up and I go, I want to buy 1,000 of them, and they go, all right, we do have free shipping on orders over $100, and I go, okay, I mean, yeah, like is that like 50 bracelets? Like how many bracelets is this? And it ended up being they charged me 15 cents a bracelet, which I was blown away with. I'm like, 15 cents a bracelet? I'm like, you're selling them in the store for like $4. They're like, yeah, well, yeah, but we make them for $3. And I'm like, really? And they told me, yeah, so you can get 1,000 bracelets for 15 cents a piece. That'll be $150. Now we do have a minimum order quantity of you ordering 1,000. I go, okay, so it's $150. I go, and shipping? They go, shipping's free on orders over $100. I'm like, okay, can I order like 5,000 of them? They go, sure. And I'm like, what about 10,000? And they go, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, I'll start with 5,000 now, but just in case I need 10,000, I know where this is going. And they're like, yeah, definitely. We've got more than enough. If you want to order 20,000 or 50,000, we've got enough for you. And I was blown away. That was the moment when I realized this is a larger opportunity than I ever realized. And retail arbitrage, while it's a wonderful place to start, wholesaling is how you can scale. It's the way that you can take your business to a whole nother level. So instead of worrying about selling 5 packs of mosquito bracelets, I could sell 5 packs, 10 packs, 20 packs, 40 packs, 50, 100 packs. I could devise a whole new system of selling inside of my business, and I could grow with my consumer, because I didn't realize that somebody would want 100 mosquito bracelets all at the same time. I had no idea. But somebody's willing to pay $1 per mosquito bracelet, which for me was incredible. Now, you don't sell as many packages of 100, but there is a camp out there that needs to buy 100 mosquito bracelets all at one pop, and they're more than willing to pay you $1 per bracelet, or $1.50, or $2 per bracelet. And it just blew me away. So yeah, that was the first purchase. And I still remember that moment when I hung up the phone, I looked at my girlfriend and I go, I think this is real. I think this is something that we can do and we can continue to grow. And she looked at me and she goes, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I do think that I trust you, and if you need X amount of dollars, and she didn't have to give me any money, but she was just like, if you think this is something that's good for your business, go for it. And I haven't looked back. I just haven't looked back. It's been that was definitely the best moment of my Amazon business, next to my first sale.
Yeah, next to the first sale, right? That's so funny. I like how you say, like, oh, I looked at my girlfriend, and you said, you're going to do this with your business or whatever, and she didn't know what you were talking about.
She had no idea. And just looked at me like I was crazy.
And only because nobody outside Amazon really understands it. They just don't understand how this can work, how it's scalable, how you can sell, all this stuff. And so, it's so funny, but that light bulb goes on when you have those aha moments, and you get a little bit farther into this, and you're like, you know what? Yeah, this is for real. This could be big. And that's exciting. That's why this is exciting to do. Okay, so as we progress, and I usually like to keep these between 20 and 30 minutes, and again, we're just going to keep having a conversation, but I want to kind of finish this story, and you kind of touched on it there as far as scaling. Now I see this a lot on Amazon. We've talked about strategies for selling more as well, and you kind of told me about how hey, different products, you can sell one mosquito bracelet. That's a listing. You can sell a pack of 5. You can sell a pack of 10. You can do the camper pack, right? The 100 pack, lifetime supply. So I want the audience just to know that, because that's one little secret tip that I really don't hear a lot about out there, but that's something that people can do to kind of differentiate themselves and find out what their customers really want and scale. So you order these mosquito bracelets. You obviously list them on Amazon, all this stuff. You differentiate and you're scaling. And then you told us at the beginning about where you're at with your business, so that's awesome. If you had to kind of put together a system, and I'm just going to let you kind of explain this. If you had to summarize wholesaling in 3 steps, something that when people leave here, they can go and they can say, okay, I'm going to try this out. I want to get started. I need a good grasp of it. What are those 3 steps that you think people need to know so that they feel comfortable?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this one. Outside of picking your product, because I think your product fits you as a seller. Obviously, everyone has a different type of product that they're interested in selling. I just love selling. So mosquito bracelets became my thing, and I started loving the outdoors, and I'm like, let's go. But there's a few different steps that I take whenever I'm looking at a different wholesale product now. And the first one is going to be, I look at it like a scientist. I look at it from a hypothesis, essentially, of I believe that this could be a product which would sell. So my first initial step is I test. So I never go deep into one specific product, which means I never overbuy, because I've been burned multiple times by overbuying. So what I'm going to do is generally I will buy between 5 and 10 units. And once I buy those 5 to 10 units, as long as I've found out that it's available to be sold on Amazon and I can see there's either other sellers or there's comparable products to it, I'm going to test it. I'm going to test 5 to 10 sales. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to list them on Amazon. Generally, I'm going to do them as merchant fulfilled right away, because I'm just eager to see if I can get a few sales. And at this phase, I'm completely okay with even losing a couple bucks per unit, just to know that there's going to be a consistent source of purchases. There's going to be a demand that is going to be able to meet the supply that I'm providing. So it doesn't matter what the product is, but I'm going to want to test it first, because I never want to over purchase. Then what I'm going to focus on is, once I can make sure that there's going to at least be a product there, Now I need to start focusing on, is it a product that's going to have a lot of competition? Am I going to be the only person who's going to be able to sell it? Are there other competitor products to it? And if so, what is the company doing? Because I'm obviously not in charge of this. I'm not in charge of the branding or the advertising. What is the company doing to make sure that they're building up a base of customers? Because I've seen a lot of products that, I used to sell a lot of different types of products that are now discontinued. Those products sell really well because there's a supply and demand. There's not a lot of supply, and there might be a little bit of demand, but over time people are going to want them, and because there's less of them, they're more valuable. But I want to see that a company is at least going to continue to thrive, because I don't want to get into a product and then the company folds. So once I test, I want to make sure that the company itself is going to continue to focus on building customers, so that there's always going to be that demand there. And then once I feel comfortable that my tests have sold, this company is going to continue to focus on it. And when I say focus on it, this is very simple. I can break it down. I'm going to look at their Facebook page. I'm going to make sure that they're doing things on Twitter, just some sort of social media, so that they're engaging with their customer base. Because if you're not engaging with your customer base, this company is probably going to either go under, or the product is either going to be taken off the market at some point. So once it's tested, and then I see that the company is at least engaging with their customers and trying to build a base, then I can go a little bit heavier into the product. And the big thing about going heavy into it, in terms of buying more units, instead of buying 5 or 10, I might buy 50 or 100 of them, is seeing either how it would work with another product, or if I could bundle it together into different levels. So when I talk about the mosquito bracelets, a 5-pack, a 10-pack, a 15-pack, a 20-pack, a 25-pack. If you have a product like that, it's important to be able to understand how to bundle it, because I didn't realize that a 25-pack mosquito bracelets would sell the best. At first, I thought it might just be like how Walmart sells them, a 1-pack. And that just wasn't as, I guess the customers just really didn't want it. Who wants to buy a 1-pack mosquito bracelet, wait for it to get there for 2 days, and then, see it show up on your door? If you're going to buy something like that, you're going to want a 20-pack, just because you're going to have one for you, one for your wife, one for your kids, maybe one for the dog, maybe, one for out on the boat, one for at the cabin, things like that. So once you figure out that the product sells, the company is going to focus on building customers, and then you figure out that you're actually going to sell this for a while, if not long term, you want to figure out different ways to be able to sell the same product. So that could be bundling it, that could be adding multiple of it together, or it could be putting it with another complementary product. I never really thought about the fact that with mosquito bracelets around 4th of July, I could sell American flag stickers and mosquito bracelets together, and people would love those actually at that time of the year even more than just regular mosquito bracelets. So those are. I know it's not specific, but that's really the way that you can break it down, because it really is an art and a science together, and you as a seller kind of determine what works best for you. And ultimately, that's whatever you feel comfortable with, because everybody comes into Amazon selling, or just selling online in general, with different levels of money, different risk tolerance in terms of how much they're willing to bet per item, how much margin they want to make per item, how much profit they want to make, as well as how long they're willing to wait for a specific sale. I'm not a person who's willing to wait very long. If I send something into Amazon, I want to get my money back as quick as possible. So I personally love consumer goods, but I have friends who sell B2B goods, who sell large automotive parts, or they sell other things that are higher ticket items that you don't sell as many as I would sell the mosquito bracelets, but per item, they're making as much as it would take me to sell 50 packs of mosquito bracelets. They only sell 1 or 2 a month, but they're comfortable with it, they're happy with it, and it suits their personality and their business.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I'm taking notes here for the people that are watching the video of this and watching the video of me. Sorry for the lack of eye contact with the camera. First off, it's a big monitor, so I'm looking at Dustin and then taking notes over here. So anyway, it might just look a little awkward on my end. And Dustin, for people that are watching this and have made it this far, can't see me either.
No.
So, because this is our first sort of, my first sort of interview, so we've been messing with this, and we just said, let's just hit the record button. We're two real people, like, why fake being the professionals here, So,
yeah, exactly.
Well, no, those are good things. So you go out there, you test it, you said, and then you find out about what's the competition look like. What is the company doing? And I love that, because really when you create a wholesale business, what you're doing is you're opening your doors, you're opening a store. And what kind of products are you bringing in? Are you going to bring in products? Are you going to sell products that are reputable companies? Like, obviously you would try to, right? Or are you going to sell products where they're knockoffs and they're not going to be around for very long? So if you're building this to last, and this is not a get rich quick scheme, right? We're not talking about that here on this show. Like, this is about scaling over time and building a business, not about I don't know, just selling crap on Amazon and trying to make it rich.
Yeah, you definitely don't. you don't want to find yourself in the middle of a product recall. I'll tell you that right now. I've never been in the middle of a product recall, but I'll guarantee you that you don't want to be in the middle of it. You want to work with companies that are on the up and up, which is why it's important once you figure out a product that you want to sell, that you look and you make sure that that company is something that you'd want to work with, because you're partnering together. Your business is going to be built on the back of that business, and their business will be built on the back of you as a seller. But if one of you is not doing it the right way, if one of you is trying to cut corners, or one of you is not being honest with your customers about what the product is, or any of the materials that are in it, it will be found out. The truth is undefeated over history. So you might get away with it for a little bit, but eventually someone is going to bring something up and it will come back to bite you. So I always encourage people just to look at the company, because any beautiful product, any wonderful selling product, if it's not backed by a wonderful company, that definitely is going to spell trouble for you and your business later down the line.
Absolutely. And if it is a business, if it's not just a product or a scheme, right? Like, then we want it to last. We want to build something that'll even outlast us, or we can sell it in the long run, right? So, no, that's great. So, form a hypothesis. Be intelligent people out there. I love how you said it was an art and a science, right? There's a little bit of art, a little bit of being an entrepreneur, intuition, and then it also is a science. Like, we know Amazon has bestseller rankings. We can see what's selling. Using common sense after you've gone a year in retail arbitrage, cyclical natures of what sells on Amazon. And, we won't go into all the different apps and things you can use to test this. Use common sense. Hunting stuff sells well during hunting season, right? It doesn't sell well when it's not hunting season. So just keep that in mind. And then find out different ways to sell. You said you can package them differently. You can even bundle them with complementary goods, seasonal goods, and I like that. You can have a mosquito bracelet with a 4th of July thing, and beyond the American flag sticker you talked about with that. I always get eaten up at the 4th of July fireworks. So I love that idea, and I would probably be a customer of yours. And then again, there's different ways to pick products. Is it consumable, replenishable? Will people buy it without feeling it first? Like, there are certain products that lend themselves to being sold on Amazon, and that's too far afoot for this one. But we'll go into that in some other episodes of the FBA podcast. And I kind of want to wrap it up here. And I do want to say, first off, thanks for doing this, by the way. I think this is really good. And I think what people gain from this is they see real people, that are actually doing this, instead of those people that are selling millions of dollars worth of products. And we're like, oh my gosh, I can't relate to them at all, but we're just two guys, doing a healthy business, something that allows us to spend time on the weekends with, you said with your girlfriend, for me, it's my wife now. So it's really cool, I think, for people to be able to relate to us. But is there anything else as we close? Is there anything else that people should know? And then I do have a link I want to give to some people. And I know you also have written a little bit of an ebook or something that you wanted. I wanted you to kind of tell people about as well. So just kind of anything else, take it away.
Yeah, definitely. First off, Ryan, I think this is wonderful what you're doing for new sellers. I was saying before and even off air that I completely forget what it was like to be a new seller now, because once you get into it and you start selling specific products and you start to really run your business, you forget the things that you didn't know. And I think this is a wonderful resource. I wish I would have had something like this when I first started selling, instead of just fumbling around online and trying to just scan random items in my house. I scanned some things that didn't even have barcodes, not realizing that you needed a barcode. So I think this is wonderful for new sellers. And that was actually when I first started selling. I remember I got a lot of questions. You asked me some questions, and I had other friends ask me questions all the time about how to be able to sell. And that was when I was purely just in Goodwills. I was in Savers and thrift stores and Salvation Armies. And I had written a book right away called Goodwill, Your Money Machine. I think it's still on Amazon. I sell a few every now and again on Amazon. I think it's about 99 cents, but you'll definitely get more than your share of value out of it. I know that. I've had a lot of friends go through it, and they always say to me, they go, I can't believe you sell this for 99 cents. I've made hundreds of dollars off of this in the first week just after reading it. And I go, yeah, I'm not greedy in any sense. I want to help people because I wish I would have had the same resources when I started. So I definitely think that this is one of the best things that we could be doing with our time to help new sellers, because honestly, the territory, which is selling online, especially Amazon FBA, is so much larger. I used to say this to you. Doing retail arbitrage, if you had millions of dollars and semi-trucks and you came to any major metropolitan area in the United States, you would run out of money before you would run out of products to buy. And even when you were done, next week there would be new things that would be available for other sellers to be able to come and buy. So the territory and the selling opportunities are vast, wide, and they are deep for those people who want to put a little hustle in, put a little work in, and really take care of their future.
All right, and I'll link up to that in the show notes. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see the link to this episode just below, and then you'll also, if you go to FBApodcast.com/4, as in number 4, that's where this podcast will be hosted. It'll reside there. And look, I would love for you guys, if you like this format, if you like Dustin, if you like me, if you like what we're doing here, please, support us by showing us something, some sort of sign. Give us some comments. Send me some emails. We'd just love to hear from you. And if you want to know more about this, Dustin and I are in the business of helping people learn about this FBA thing. So, if you want to learn more about this, send me some emails. And you know what? We'll talk after this, Dustin, but I would love to put together, first off, would you mind, answering some of the questions if people leave comments, on the FBA podcast website? Would you mind?
Definitely.
Awesome. So if we have comments and questions there that Dustin can help you with to get you started, then we're gonna answer them. We're gonna make sure they go, and this episode will go live here in the early weeks of August 2015. So I'll let Dustin off the hook once it gets into September. But that'd be great. And then also go to FBApodcast.com/wholesale, and if you go and check that out, we'll have a little PDF there that summarizes everything Dustin has learned about his wholesale business, and give you these steps so that it's one page, one actionable item, so that you know exactly what you need to do. So that, again, will be at FBApodcast.com/wholesale. So that's where that will reside. And some exciting news for you also. Please stick around and listen to the next episode, the next podcast. Some exciting news about the office hours I've been talking about, and I'm going to expand the Teach Me FBA course. So that FBA course, that's over 100 people have now taken it. I've gotten some awesome feedback. And it's time to expand it. It's time to make those improvements that people are wanting. So if you guys stay tuned, that'll be announced in the next episode. Look, I hope you have a great day today. I hope you have a productive day today. Dustin, thank you so much. And to everybody out there, I hope to see you back in the next episode of the FBA Podcast. Take care.